Good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning for a morning mindfulness practice. I've talked here before about mindfulness as being rather than doing. And that remains for me one of the simplest ways of understanding and accessing what mindfulness is. Just being right here, right now. Nowhere to get to, nothing we need to change immediately. Things we might want to change over time, but actually by just being with things as they are, change happens quite naturally. So just being rather than doing. And yet, because of the habits of our minds and of a lifetime of experience of doing, staying in something like being mode is difficult. Our minds naturally carry us off. There's a certain momentum back into doing this, thinking that, planning this. It's very hard to stay still, as it were, to just be. And so it takes a skill, a skillfulness to rest in being mode, even for a few moments. And this skillfulness is something that we can train in. It's sometimes compared to training a puppy. The mind can be a bit like a puppy in wandering off when we want it to stay in one place, or bringing back things that are messy and dirty, creating a mess, being playful, exciting, lovable. So we can train the mind to rest in being mode in much the same way that we might train a puppy. The phrase that's often used is firm, patient, and kind repetition. The mind wanders away, and we gently bring it back, firmly, patiently, kindly. And it wanders away again, and we bring it back to wherever we're focusing on. Some particular sensation in the body, or the whole of this present moment, or maybe a sound or something else. Whatever we're using as a focus in that moment to bring us into this moment and to bring us into being mode, we can firmly, patiently, and kindly keep bringing the mind back to it, however many times it wanders. If we see the mind in this puppy-like way, we're not so surprised when it wanders again and again. And we can respond to it skillfully and train it over time to rest in just being and to enjoy more sustained and deeper moments of just being with things as they are. There's real freedom in this direction. So let's practice this together this morning. You can choose your posture now, whether sitting or standing or lying down, something that feels comfortable for you, dignified and awake. By taking up a particular posture, we send the brain a message that something intentional is happening. So making that choice for yourself now about how you'd like to do this practice. And we'll begin with the sound of the bell. So perhaps closing the eyes if that's comfortable for you, or leaving them open. We'll do a 3-step breathing space practice this morning. The first stage of this practice is acknowledging, just taking in what's here, perhaps beginning with the body. So noticing your posture, however it is, just bringing awareness to it. The points of contact between your body and whatever is supporting your body right now. Points of contact with clothing and air. The movements of your body. The sensation of the breath coming in and going out. And any other movements that you observe your body making. Perhaps slight adjustments to keep you balanced. Maybe something else too. In this stage of the practice, we're simply noticing how things are. You might like to scan briefly through the body, from the soles of the feet up to the crown of the head. And in your own time, acknowledging also what's in the space around you. Even with the eyes closed, just acknowledging the space. Perhaps sounds. Perhaps just a sense of space in all directions. Even with the eyes closed, there is still color and shadow. You can allow this to be acknowledged too. There may be emotions here, or not. Just noticing what is. There may be a subtle feeling tone of pleasant, or neutral, or unpleasant, that colors our experience of each moment. And you can notice that too. Sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like that. We can be with it however it is, pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. Just acknowledging how it is without needing to change. And finally, acknowledging thoughts too, the level of activity of the mind. Again, maybe very busy, maybe less so. We can acknowledge however it is. So just taking in the rich mixture of this present moment, sensations of the body, the space around you, emotions, thoughts, allowing it all to be here in the same space. As we move to the second stage of the practice, which is gathering, choosing one particular sensation of the body. Anything you like, anything that feels easy to connect with in this moment. Perhaps the movement of the breath in the belly, the nostrils, maybe the feet, maybe the contact between the bum and the chair, maybe the hands. Just choosing one without giving it too much thought, whatever arises for you. And allowing everything that we just acknowledged to be in the background, but letting this one sensation take center stage in your awareness. Shining the spotlight of attention on this one place. And just resting the mind here. Watching it. Watching the sensation itself. How it is right now. And right now. That's all. We're not looking for a certain sensation or experience. We're just allowing the mind to rest here with this focused sensation in the foreground and everything else that we acknowledged in the background. We don't need to push anything away or hold on to anything. Just allowing the spotlight of the mind to rest on the sensation that you have chosen to focus on. And of course, that spotlight will wander. A thought, a sound, a memory, another sensation. All sorts of things draw the spotlight of attention. When we notice that this has happened, we're already aware. And like training a puppy, we can firmly, patiently, kindly just turn the spotlight back to where we've chosen to focus. Not surprised by the natural wandering mind. Not expecting this to be the last time it ever wanders. Just coming back and beginning again. Resting the mind here. A broad awareness in the background. body, space, and in the foreground, this chosen sensation, like an anchor keeping us in the present moment, keeping us in a mode of just being. Nothing we need to do, nothing we need to work towards right now. Just being as we are already. If the mind wanders away 1,000 times, we can bring it back 1,000 times. There may be restlessness, distraction, challenging feelings may arise at different points. You don't have to get rid of them. They'll arise and pass away in their own time. We can keep our attention on the chosen, focused sensation, whatever's in the background. We always have that choice of where to point the spotlight of our attention. It may jump off to somewhere else subsequently, but then we'll have the choice again to bring it back. As we come into the third stage of this practice, allowing the spotlight to expand, as if you're twisting the lens of a torch. Expanding the awareness back out again to include everything that was in the background. The whole of your experience right now, perhaps beginning with the body, letting awareness unfurl from the chosen sensation into the whole of the rest of the body. At the surface and deep inside. Just receiving the sensations throughout the body, however they are. And continuing to expand the awareness beyond the envelope of the skin into the space beyond. Sound, color and shadow, even with the eyes closed. Space in all directions. A panorama of attention, as if you're at the top of a mountain. Your awareness is as vast right here, right now, as it would be at the top of a mountain. That panorama is always available. You might like to stay in touch with your chosen sensation as a way of steadying yourself. It can be hard to sustain the wide open awareness So coming back as often as you like to anchor yourself in the breath or the hands or the feet, whatever you chose. And from here, opening out again. So just being with this moment, this brand new, undiscovered moment. There are likely to be thoughts floating around. We can drop beneath the waves of the thinking mind into the calmer waters beneath, the waters of just awareness, just observing and letting be. Observing and letting go. Neither holding on nor pushing away, but just resting the mind in awareness. Today's poem is called This Much I Do Remember by Billy Collins. It was after dinner. You were talking to me across the table about something or other, a greyhound you had seen that day or a song you liked. And I was looking past you, over your bare shoulder, at the 3 oranges lying on the kitchen counter, next to the small electric bean grinder, which was also orange, and the orange and white cruets for vinegar and oil, all of which converged into a random still life, so fastened together by the hasp of colour, and so fixed behind the animated foreground of your talking and smiling, gesturing and pouring wine, and the camber of your shoulders, that I could feel it being painted within me, brushed on the wall of my skull, while the tone of your voice lifted and fell in its flight. And the 3 oranges remained fixed on the counter, the way that stars are said to be fixed in the universe. Then all of the moments of the past began to line up behind that moment, and all of the moments to come assembled in front of it in a long row, giving me reason to believe that this was a moment I had rescued from millions that rush out of sight into a darkness behind the eyes. Even after I have forgotten what year it is, my middle name and the meaning of money, I will still carry in my pocket the small coin of that moment, minted in the kingdom that we pace through every day. So thank you so much for practicing with me this morning. I wish you a good day, and I'll be back at the same time tomorrow. Thank you and take care.